welcome back to another episode of the Rule of Two podcast. A podcast, what do we talk about?
Pregnancy tests.
Pregnancy test. No, Star Wars. That's right. And the voice you heard is my dude, Sean, my other host.
That's me. And the first voice we heard was
I'm Aaron.
Liam Neeson. Oh, Aaron. Sorry.
I'm Aaron.
Sorry. Yeah.
I'm Aaron. Anyway, this is the Rule of Two podcast, and we are coming at you to talk about our thoughts and review of the Rise of Skywalker, the latest and last in the Skywalker
latest
saga.
And last,
well,
man.
It's the third last, but I'm assuming it's the last.
Well, the last of the Skywalker saga. Well, I think we can say that confidently.
Well, I think they probably confidently said that.
You know
after
what?
Return of the Jedi,
that's true.
Confidently said that after Rise of. Or
you make a very good point. At this point, we assume it's the last of the Skywalker saga. However, the ending of this movie kind of leads me to believe that it's not.
Well, at least they're gonna have some spin-offs, I think. That's what I think. But anyway,
which means it's not the end of the Skywalker. Yeah, whatever. We'll get into complaints.
We'll get in a little bit of that going on later. So what's going on? Anything new in the life of Sean?
I found out that I can stand on one foot for longer than 5 seconds.
That's pretty dope. I can do it for 6. So what up? You know what? You know what's
Always
new
trying to one up me.
I'm sorry. You know what's new in the world of the Rule of Two podcast?
We made some upgrades.
We did. We made some upgrades, and we have an additional mic. So
we each have our own setup.
Now we're not forced to kiss. We just kiss because we want to. So before every recording, we had to talk into one mic, and we were like right next to each other. That was fun. But we've upgraded now with 2 mics, like a professional podcasting crew. What up?
You know, though, yeah, totally. Totes, what up? However, we were using the Blue Yeti mic. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Blue Yeti, dope ass tech for sure. It was really great. However, definitely not easy to do with more than one person if you only have one mic.
They make it doable. They do make it doable.
They do. And I always thought that it sounded pretty decent and
pretty damn good.
I also have to say that there's this new podcast out there that's getting kind of traction. I'm gonna throw a shout out to them a little bit, but it's called Potterless. I don't know if you've heard of it or not.
I have not.
But shout out to them. It sounds pretty sweet. If anybody has a Harry Potter fan out there, check it out. However, their audio quality is kind of shit for like the first several episodes, and I was like, oh wow, I guess I'm not as amateur as I thought I was, because we sounded way better than those fucks.
I guess we just invested a little bit more, but they probably have us beat in listeners. We're almost up to 1,000 total listens.
Probably.
What up? 1,000 total. I mean, that's less than 100 per episode, but you know what? I like to think that's 1,000 individual people. Anyway, that's just a quick update.
Rise of Skywalker.
Let's talk about Rise of Skywalker.
Let's talk about it.
Let's start with you. What are your initial thoughts on the latest movie?
Well, I want to start off by saying this might have been one of the most anticipated Star Wars movies I've ever seen. I think Revenge of the Sith is a high contender just because of all the crazy stuff that was coming out around the time and because of the age that we were at. But this movie was very highly anticipated for me just because we went to Celebration, which is the first celebration we've ever been to. The first teaser trailer we saw was unbelievably fucking fantastic. We find out that Palpatine's back, and it was just insane. Overall, thoughts about the movie was that, in general, I walked away entertained, and I wasn't disappointed like I was when we saw the Last Jedi.
Yeah, so when you say the most anticipated, you're saying it's your most anticipated.
One of my. I'm not saying it's the most. It's just, it was a very highly anticipated film for me just because of the build-up that I had personally.
Yeah, I was going to push
Star Wars
back a little
Celebration, the teaser trailer, all that stuff was just really, it had me more excited than I've been excited in a long time to see a Star Wars film.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I was going to push back a little bit in that I would say that just overall, I think that, probably The Force Awakens would have been more highly anticipated from the general audience. But yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah, they had a lot more marketing.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a thing that I think they fucked up with this time around. You all right over there?
Yeah, I'm dying. I'm sorry.
I think that's one of the things this time around that I wasn't a big fan of, is that, with The Force Awakens, like, Force Friday was dope, and every store you went into was just packed with stuff.
Obviously, The Force Awakens was highly anticipated because it was the first time Star Wars was coming back in
10
a
years.
long time, and the amount of marketing that they put towards that movie was insane.
Agreed.
And we were at all of the, not all of them, but some of the, like, midnight toy releases, and those were crazy, way more extreme than
crazy.
The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker have been. They've definitely dropped off as far as getting the advertisements.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. Like, this time around, when I went to Target recently, after Force Friday, so leading up to the movie, Target was barren. There was more stuff for Frozen 2 than there was for Star Wars stuff, and I don't understand that.
Oh yeah. I mean, and when The Force Awakens came out, there was Star Wars stuff packed throughout an entire aisle at most stores that I went to, because I always went in to check out just like what toys they had in, if they had restocked anything, and like for The Last Jedi, it was really bad. This one might be just as bad, because there's like a tiny little like 5-inch section, and there's nothing. There's hardly any cool toys that came out. Agreed. Obviously, we got our hands on some cool stuff, but nowhere near the level of Force Awakens.
Yeah, and with The Force Awakens, it wasn't just toys. There were Star Wars oranges, Star Wars strawberries, Star Wars bread, Star Wars
apples,
bottled water,
grapes,
everything was Star Wars.
Cauliflower.
Like, nothing this time. Like, I feel like the Disney marketing machine was kind of died down a little bit as they progressed through the trilogy.
Well, I have my own opinions on what Disney did to this trilogy in particular, but we'll get to that. Let's
talk about Rise of Skywalker. So
you
said you liked it. You liked it.
I did. Overall, I enjoyed it. I walked away happy. However, it was hard not to after the catastrophe that we had with The Last Jedi. I felt that, and at least that's how I felt walking in. The people who liked The Last Jedi and then went to see this movie, I feel like have mixed reactions from the people that I've talked to. However, for me, having hated The Last Jedi so fiercely, there wasn't much that they could do here that would have made me upset and made me walk away disappointed.
Yeah, I remember after The Last Jedi, like, you didn't even talk to me. You didn't talk to anybody. We were we went to the bar afterwards, and you just kind of sat there, and we're all like, I guess
I was trying to form thoughts. It was a big thing to take in, man. I mean, Force Awakens offered a lot of opportunity and hope. It offered a new hope.
It literally did.
It literally did. I mean, it was a new hope over again with just 40 years into the future. And then The Last Jedi happened, and I was just like, what the fuck are these people doing?
Yeah. So my opinion on the Rise of Skywalker, I definitely enjoyed it. I left thoroughly thinking the movie was great. Not great, but it was, in my opinion, the way that the trilogy was left into, like, going into this movie, they did the best they could to make a decent Star Wars movie. You know what I mean? Because I feel like each movie contradicted the last, and there was like, what else were they going to do with what Rian Johnson gave, J.J. Abrams? And I think there was a lot of fan servicey stuff that was a hit or miss, but for me, a lot of that was kind of a hit. So
yeah, you know what? I just keep wanting to go into all the negatives about this movie. So let's talk about the positives. What were some of your favorite scenes, your favorite moments of this movie?
Well, obviously, I think, again, I'm a sucker for Palpatine. So having him start out the movie, with his voice, like, first of all, the scroll comes out saying, just, it's that was.
Hey, by the way, Palpatine's back.
It was like, well, how are they going to bring him back? What are they going to do?
Aaron, we're not talking about negatives right now. We're talking about positives.
I'm not saying this is a negative.
That's a big negative for me.
Well, what I was saying, because I was talking to my wife, and I would just say, how, like, this movie's going to have to be longer than The Irishman, right? It's going to have to be so long to be able to accommodate. How do they have Palpatine back? How are they going to,
Which it was originally.
Well, close, yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Allegedly. But
more to come.
And then, I feel like the scroll kind of was like they just kind of jumped right into it. They're like,
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way, he's back, and this
Right,
is happening.
yeah.
Which I don't find that too negative. I can understand it being kind of a negative though.
I just, all right, holding off on that point, but yes, I agree with you. Palpatine's always been one of my favorites. We both freaked out when we found out that they were bringing Palpatine back because I felt like there's a lot of like lack in like fan, not a lot of lack, some lack in fan service in this new trilogy is concerned, and bringing him back was like, oh hey, we heard you guys, we're bringing him back, you're welcome, kind of deal.
Exactly, yeah, and I think we saw that I think also with Lando and a few other things, but
Absolutely.
so to me that's a hey. I don't know. I don't feel like they thought this through in terms of having Palpatine be the main bad guy at the beginning, right? I could be wrong. It doesn't appear that way. And to me, this seems like they were trying to find a way to bring back the Star Wars fans that hated The Last Jedi.
Yeah, well, yes, but we'll never really know because they went from one director to another director back to the first director. So maybe this was JJ's plan all along. Maybe this is the story he wanted to tell all along, but we'll never know because Disney decided to go the way that they went.
Exactly. So to me, that was the best part of the movies, having Palpatine back. I don't know. I'm a sucker for Palpatine. I thought it was dope, and it's not thoroughly out of the realm of Star Wars. Like he in the old expanded universe was
exactly
a clone, right? In this, I don't know. It was like. He said he had died, right? So he's essentially a body that came back to life. I don't know if it's his body, a clone body. They can obviously make bodies with Snoke.
Well, which was another part that I loved. That I took it as they are officially canonizing the fact that Darth Bane has essentially been transferring his consciousness down through the line of succession through all of the Sith since the Rule of Two became a thing. And when Sidious says, I am the Sith, I am all the Sith in one body, and when you kill me, I will be transferred into you, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, that rings a bell. If you've read the Darth Bane trilogy by Drew Karpyshyn, that's exactly what he did at the end of the third book, was transfer his consciousness into his apprentice. And it's just like a knowledge, it's a true definition of knowledge transfer down the line.
It's what it seems like. So it kind of would imply that, kind of Emperor Palpatine theoretically would be Darth Bane.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So
exactly. It's all one person. The Sith is one person, which again goes back to the Darth Bane trilogy, where their biggest problem was that there was too many of them. They were always concerned about power, and everyone was killing everybody, and they couldn't accomplish any goals because they only were worried about power, and there was too many of them. So they're like, oh, let's narrow it down to 2, aka 1, whatever the case may be. But it sounds like they kind of were like, they took that idea and ran with it a little bit, which I thought was really sweet.
I know. I remember looking to you in the theater and be like, oh my God, I think they just like canonized that shit. Which they didn't explicitly do that, so it's technically not fully canon, but I feel like that's a good thing with Star Wars, that they kind of leave it to the audience to a point.
To kind of interpret for themselves.
Although I feel like they're not doing that to some point. So kind of sidetracking, if there's a podcast called the Rebel Force Radio, very cool podcast.
Oh yes, Rebel Force Radio,
biggest Star Wars podcast. They interview all sorts of people.
Oh yeah,
they had Matt Lanter.
That's the goal right there.
Yeah,
man.
That's what I want to be. I want to be old Jimmy Mack. No. Anyway, they were talking about the Sam Witwer. He's the voice of Darth Maul. A couple of different voices in Clone Wars. He was the body for
Sam Witwer. Wasn't he Starkiller?
Yeah, he was the body for the character in The Force Unleashed, and I think he's also, is he the voice of Palpatine in when Palpatine is in Clone Wars, or no?
Is he?
I don't know. Anyway, I could be lying about that. Anyway, he's heavily involved in Star Wars, at least in the being an actor in it. And
yeah, for sure.
I guess one of the writers for something said that how they canonized, well, we thought they canonized the fact that, or the idea that Palpatine created Anakin through midichlorians. They essentially were saying that's not what they were saying. Right?
Wait. I saw the comic, and that's explicitly what they were saying.
A writer came out. It was some writer. I can't remember. I don't want to give out any. I don't know the name, so I can't really say the name. But
I saw the
Sam
comic
Witwer
strip.
like
I saw the
like
images.
quote tweeted him and said, I believe that's what it is, and to me, like him saying that that's kind of what he loved about Star Wars is that it kind of did leave a lot. It was kind of like the scene in Empire Strikes Back
Right.
where Yoda tells, or Luke asks Yoda, like, what's in there? And then Luke says, or Yoda says, only what you take with you. Right. And to me, it's kind of like that. But, what did you get out of Star Wars? Well, only what you, like, want.
Only what you want out of it. Yeah.
But what, like, you come in with it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And to me, I feel like that with this, what I think is the canonization of Bane and the transcendence into the apprentice. So that until they come out and say,
I see
no,
what
that's
you're
not the
saying.
case.
I see what you're saying, and I agree. I think it's cool that we're able to leave that interpretation up to ourselves. However, I will say that my understanding that they canonized the whole Palpatine creating Anakin from the Force thing was dope as fuck.
I'm gonna choose to believe that as well. They can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, I saw you and I both saw the comic images. That's what they were clearly doing. And if they're saying that comic is canon, then Anakin was created by Palpatine.
That's
like we all thought that he was to begin with. So they can go shove a dick up their dicks. I don't know.
That'd be painful. That'd be very painful. So what other sort of things? So Palpatine and the canonization of that were pretty cool. I mean, obviously we're suckers for the dark side. What was one of the other things? What was something else you liked?
I loved how they were able to incorporate Carrie Fisher into this movie, into a seamless storyline. I mean, like, because we knew that they had taken footage that they had filmed while they were doing The Force Awakens, and were able to make it make sense in a way that didn't seem fake. And wow, I was kind of impressed by the way that they did it. It didn't seem like there was some shots where I'm like, oh, the back of her head is probably not actually Carrie Fisher, but the things that we were seeing her saying and seeing her face, I was like, wow, Jesus. And but however, it's kind of like a bummer a little bit, because that prohibits them from maybe telling the story they originally wanted to tell, because obviously I totally get it. And I'm not like bashing on them or anything, but they were not going to do this movie without her, and they weren't going to CGI her into it, which I totally get. And I agree with them. I'm glad they did it the way that they did. But aside from her passing on, which is super sad, and I definitely cried for several scenes that she was in, but that was definitely a limitation, I felt like.
Well, I thought it was pretty cool. I like that they did that. I think they went the right route doing that. Maybe it was the only route limiting,
to go, really. I mean,
I agree with you though that I think something that some fans may not like. I think there was some pushback that some people thought it looked too cheesy. I didn't see any cheesiness. I thought it looked great.
I didn't either.
The way that they because originally when they said that, I thought they would literally have the scenes, like in the trees and all that stuff, like, which they were in a tree area, but it wasn't the same place. They literally cut her out expertly, obviously the ILM, but
right.
I thought that was pretty cool. And like you did mention the scenes that she was in. I'm not one that usually gets teared up during a movie. It has to be pretty bad. I don't think I've ever cried during any Star Wars movie. But when she died and Chewbacca fell to his knees, man,
oh my God, that's when I lost it too, man.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Starting to tear up. And
that was when that was
rough.
Yeah. Totally. There were some parts where I was in shock and disbelief, but that was the one that eventually got me. When Chewbacca finds out and he drops down and starts
That's pretty good.
Just screaming in his Wookiee rant. That was like, oh my God, because they were in it from the beginning, man.
Yeah.
They're the only two left in that movie that were in. Well, not true. I mean, C-3PO and R2,
but I mean, they were relegated also. But a couple of things about Carrie Fisher, and there was one side effect of her being here is that that it did limit the role that Rose had played in the movie. I don't know if you heard that. So some people were happy, some people were complaining, saying that they, did it.
Is that why they did that? Was because Carrie Fisher?
Well, so apparently there were a lot of her scenes were filmed with Carrie, like in Carrie Fisher's presence, and they couldn't use some of the footage.
No shit.
Yeah,
I
So
did not know
that's
that.
what they
That's
said.
why I did not know that.
Not and not that nothing bad against Kelly Marie Tran because I think she did the role well. I just didn't like the character. I think that it was
she's
kind of
she's great, and
stupid
she got a
writing
lot of
character.
shit like on social media, and
Yeah,
that's shitty, man. Like, don't like that was fucked up,
toxic
and
fandom
I
right there.
definitely like I was like rooting for her, but I agree with you. I didn't like the character that they wrote, and that is 100% Ryan Johnson's fault
Yep. Well,
because he was given that 100% total creative control over whatever he wanted to do, and I didn't like that character. It didn't make sense to me.
I 100% agree with that.
At all. And it made even less sense when Rise of Skywalker came out because they basically just
Contradicted the whole thing.
yeah.
Well, not the whole thing, but another thing with Carrie Fisher, this is really cool. I saw this recently. There's two things with her daughter, Billie Lourd.
Yes.
I don't actually remember seeing her too much in the movie.
I only saw her the one time and she runs up and says something to Leia and the whole entire theater went nuts because her daughter's talking to her in this new movie, and
That's gotta be surreal to see.
That was like a
Another
have to fan myself
like
kind of
tearjerker moment.
Yeah.
So apparently, one thing is that she is now 28, which is kind of crazy. I didn't think she was that old, but that is the
Wow.
same age that Carrie Fisher was when they filmed Return of the Jedi.
No fucking shit.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And the other thing is that there was actually another time that we saw Billie Lourd that we didn't know because
Was she playing somebody else?
She was. She
Oh,
played
shit.
Force Ghost.
I'm learning all
Leia.
kinds of things. What?
Yeah, dude.
Wait. Force? You mean
Towards the end.
at the very end
Yeah.
when Rey looks off into the distance and it's
The
Mark
body
Hamill
is-
and no,
Yeah.
it's
No, but I mean
it's Carrie Fisher's face.
Well, it is. They like CGI'd her face, but I guess they.
Oh, but
they
it's
put
actually
Carrie-
Billie Lourd,
Lourd.
like,
I mean, I
standing
read that
in
on
for
Twitter.
her.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Wow, interesting.
Maybe it's not, but
I wonder if she was because they also had that flashback too, which I thought was dope with Luke and Leia training
yeah. So I just looked it
and
up.
like
It definitely
lightsaber
is.
combat.
Definitely is.
It for sure is.
Yep.
Wow,
So it says blah blah blah.
that's pretty sweet, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, maybe they're saying it was actually the scene that you're talking about.
Like the flashback where Luke and Leia are training, and you see like young Leia. I kind of assumed that was another Billie Lourd stand-in, and they just CGI'd her face to make it look like it was actually Carrie Fisher, even though it was her daughter. That's kind of what I was
So
assuming.
this article is saying that it was that scene, not the Force Ghost scene.
Not
Maybe it's both. I
not
don't
the
know, but
Force Ghost.
either way, to me that is like awesome. Can you imagine that
Yeah.
being like a daughter and your
Oh my
mom
God, how
being Carrie
emotional.
Fisher and being able to play? Oh, that is crazy.
Oh, jeez.
And literally-
Jeez, no.
I guess this would have been a couple years after, so she wouldn't be 28 anymore. But either way, I just thought that was touching.
Yeah. That's wow. That's fucking powerful, bro.
It is, yeah.
That's fucking powerful. Speaking of powerful, another scene that really got me, and I just had my hands on my head, mouth gaping, eyes wide, staring at the screen for a good solid 15 minutes when Rey shoots lightning up at the transport, and for a good 10 to 15 minutes, we believe that she just fucking killed Chewbacca. I didn't get emotional because I was like, no fucking way. I remember hitting you and then putting my hands on my head through my hair and just holding like grasping my scalp, and I just stayed that way for 15 minutes. And then they're like, "Oh, Chewbacca's alive," and I was like,
It was different shit. I know. I was so relieved.
"Are
I
you
was
kidding me,
exact same.
man?" However, I felt like that was like a reoccurring theme in this movie, like where they would kill somebody and then just bring them back. Oh, hey, Chewbacca's dead. No, just kidding. Oh, hey, Kylo Ren's dead. Oh, no, just kidding. Oh, hey, Rey's dead. Oh, no, just kidding.
Yeah, they did that
It's like,
multiple times.
just fucking kill a motherfucker,
and then
man.
it was,
Like,
hey, Kylo's dead. Oh, yep, he's dead.
oh, no, he's actually dead.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Ben's
fine.
dead, not Kylo.
No, yeah, not Kylo. Kylo
is
was dead.
He is. Yeah, Kylo did die. So Kylo died.
Actually,
Kylo did die.
Kylo did
Ben
die.
arose. Ben lived. So it only happened twice.
All right. Throwing some knowledge. All right, I like it.
But yeah, so the other thing that I thought you were going to say when you said a powerful moment, to me, another scene that I liked that totally shocked me, came by surprise, did not see it coming, did not. I thought this person was done with everything, but when
Harrison Ford,
Han Solo comes in,
oh my gosh!
So when you hear the hey kid, I was like, oh my,
what?
So that was awesome. So.
You know what really got me? It was yes, that scene was fucking amazing and I loved it. And I was like, holy shit, it's Harrison Ford. But my mom went to go see it. And the reason I started watching Star Wars when I was a kid was because of my mom. Mm-hmm. And she called me after she saw it and she was like, oh my gosh, just seeing Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and then the scene with Han Solo, and she just started crying. I was on the phone with her, and I'm like, yeah, that was fine. It's okay, Mom. It's fine. I'm not crying. It's fine. I lost it, dude.
And I was like, it was a pretty touching scene, too, because they reiterated their last interaction, essentially, right? Like, the whole idea of, I know what I have to do, but I don't have the power to do it. He held up the lightsaber and, touched his face.
Instead of killing his spirit ghost dad.
Yep.
He fucking chucked it.
And also, did he say I know? Was that in there? Wasn't there I love you?
Did he?
Maybe I'm just imagining that. In my head, I have
Dude, I don't know. I need to
I love you. And he's like, I know, kid. Or something like that. I don't know. We have to rewatch it.
I need to rewatch it. I don't know about that. That would be amazing.
It would be, yeah.
Because that was an improv line.
I know.
That was not back in the day. That was not planned. Anyway, yeah, and then so he tosses his lightsaber, and then miraculously Rey and Kylo learn the ability to teleport items through the Force instantaneously.
One consequence that did have is the awesome Ben Solo challenge on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not see that.
It's
what was that?
It's a hashtag Ben Solo challenge, and it's just a bunch of people filming themselves doing standing there with you can't see the lightsaber, then they pull something out. It could be a lightsaber. One person had a banana, a Mountain Dew bottle, and they would do that, and then they would just
Jesus Christ.
What else? What else about the movie did we enjoy?
What else did I enjoy? I
know one that and this isn't just specific to this movie, but the performance of Adam Driver. I think he's the one in this saga that I think the original trilogy. I mean, they all did well, right, in the original trilogy. But Harrison Ford is the main guy, and I think that's going to be Adam Driver this time. Just like in the other one, they all did well. Natalie Portman, I mean, she knocked it out of the park, but actually, she's probably more famous than Ewan McGregor. Either way, those two killed it. I think he's going to be the Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman this time around.
100%, man. The one saving grace that this trilogy does have is not only the performance of Adam Driver, but just the character of Kylo Ren. All of my gripes about the trilogy as a whole, Kylo Ren is a really fantastic character. I loved his story arc. I loved watching him develop over the trilogy. I loved so many things about him. There were things that I hated too, but most of he was, if I had to pick one character that I thought was the best, well developed, the one I enjoyed watching the most, it would have to be his for sure.
Definitely. Kylo Ren, Ben Solo. I mean, I think most of that was driven by Adam Driver just being fucking awesome at every scene. Just so you can see the torment in his eyes. I mean, I'm not one to really critique movies or anything, so I don't really have, crazy things to say about it, but his performance in this movie specifically was amazing.
Well, I mean, he just seems like a tortured dude to begin with. Have you ever seen him just an interview? He's
apparently he has really bad anxiety about seeing himself and talking and stuff like that. But,
oh yeah, I saw an interview with him where they tried to show him clips of the movie and he got up and walked out of the fucking because they told him beforehand, don't do this. He doesn't like it. And they did it anyway, and he was
already
like, all right, I gotta leave.
So a few years ago, they did it before. They did that. He didn't say not
right.
to. he told them afterwards that he'd appreciate it to not do that again. They said it
Right,
going
right,
into
right.
this, and they did it anyway. And then the fucking editor of that magazine tweeted it out like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe he did this." And it's like, you're the asshole in this situation, bro.
Yeah. Those guys were fucking pricks. Like he's nice enough to come there and talk to you, and he's kind of like an awkward dude. I mean, he was in the Marines for a while, so he's like an intense fucking guy.
Yeah. So, with his performance, another thing that I liked was this was really the first time that we saw a nice interaction between the three main characters, right? I feel like we get that a lot in the original trilogy specifically, somewhat in the prequel trilogy, and like Obi-Wan and Padme don't necessarily have like as much of a on-screen presence.
Right.
But
No, not really.
This trilogy, like the three of them just were totally separate until the beginning of this movie, I feel like. Mostly.
For the most part, they were definitely more separate during
like
the
Poe
Last
and,
Jedi.
And Rey didn't even meet until the end of the Last Jedi, right? That was the first time we saw all three of them on screen at the same time. And
Yeah,
they finally brought
thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, bitches. Well, we could also blame JJ for the first one.
Well, but they were. Well, I guess Poe wasn't around for a lot of it, but Finn and Rey were together for a ton of the first movie, and Last Jedi they were kind of all separated for most of the film.
I'm just saying I didn't get this, like, for how much they recreated the original trilogy. They did not recreate the camaraderie between the three main characters like they did in the original trilogy. Like I think of Han, Luke, and Leia as like a tight knit best friend group. I don't get that out of these three.
Totally agree.
And I feel like they tried to
100%.
shoehorn that in at the beginning. With the little bickering they had, which it was fine. I think it was pretty funny
because they're trying to bring it back and to try to remind us all that hey, these three are connected, and because we lost that a lot we lost it a lot in The Last Jedi. We lost a ton of that. There was so much separation between the three of them. They didn't really do hardly anything together. And you're right. I mean, I just watched the original trilogy recently, and I know that you did too.
Mm-hmm.
And Han, Luke, and Leia are together for most of those three movies. Well, like they're obviously the separations, like where they
all kind of they don't. Luke separates out, right, and then comes back towards the end.
True.
So Luke and Han technically are only together.
Which again is kind of like what Rey did in The Last Jedi. Right? She separated out and then came back at the end.
Yeah, but even Poe and Finn split up.
I don't know, but there was just something about, like, maybe it was just, I don't know what it was, but I agree with you though. Luke, Leia, and Han felt way more connected and close,
like a tight-knit group.
And that I was gonna say threesome, but that sounds weird. That triple threat kind of thing. You feel that way more than you do with Poe and Rey and Finn.
But I do like that they actually had them interacting together on screen, throughout the movie. Actually, a lot of the movie, really. I mean, they're traveling together.
So we both agree that we both left satisfied, and we overall liked it. However, the famous saying amongst Star Wars fans is that there's nobody who hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. So, keeping that in mind, let's dive into what we didn't like about it.
A very valid criticism about this movie, one that I didn't actually really mind, because I don't know, I don't go into Star Wars movies thinking they're like these crazy like theater films. They're not films, they're action movies. They're fantasy sci-fi movies, right? So
it's an adventure.
Yeah, it's an adventure,
it's
right?
A cinematic adventure.
A lot of people did have, and I see it, a criticism that the movie literally it didn't even stop. It just went on to the next thing.
It just went back so fast.
Action, adventure, done. Like, that's pretty much how the movie was.
It was too.
I didn't mind it personally.
Well, but kind of think of, not all Star Wars movies have been like that, but some of them have been. I mean, now I'm digging into the memory banks of like what the other ones did, and some of them do have a lot. I felt like a lot of the other ones, this one was too fast.
It was faster than
especially the first 30 minutes. It was like boom, 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 boom.
Included, like we talked about earlier, with the opening crawl, just like
the
boom,
opening
right
crawl.
Off the bat.
Oh, hey, by the way, Palpatine's back. Okay, why, how, when, what, where?
Sorry,
no
one thing
answers.
I forgot about to say that I liked about the movie, and this is the beginning, and it is when they go to Exegol, right? You know, the Sith planet.
The Sith planet.
And they...
Which was that a thing prior to this movie?
No, Exegol was not. I don't know much. I think that's new. And that is something that I'm curious about too. Like, those Sith people, are those... Do they...
Actual Sith species?
I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be the Sith species, right? And
so is Exegol the Sith species planet?
I think so. But my question would be, do they look like the Sith in like the Old Republic?
In the Old Republic. That's what I was going to say. Like, what's
the tentacle?
Do they talk about? I haven't played the Old Republic as much as you have, but do they talk about, like, because the Sith species is like one of the characters you can choose as like your guy that you play as.
And they look sweet.
Do they talk at all about like where they came from or their home planet?
I don't really remember. I always thought Korriban was, but I think that was just like a Sith planet.
Korriban was like the Sith Lord planet.
Yeah, exactly. So I think
which is now Moraband.
What?
Yeah, you remember Clone Wars?
No.
When Yoda goes and he sees Darth Bane's like ghost,
right.
they call it Moraband. That's not Korriban is not canon.
Well, anyway, one of the things I liked about was when I think it's both of them, Kylo Ren and Rey, they like drop down that elevator thing, and I had just finished, a couple weeks before that, playing the last.
Drop down the elevator.
Well,
thing.
It's not really an elevator, but those big ass chains are kind of like go. That's the thing that Kylo Ren or Ben Solo jumps on.
Yeah.
And with all the statues and shit, with that,
right.
I had just got done, a couple weeks before, 2 weeks, whatever, before the movie. I finished the Jedi Fallen Order, and to me, I got serious video game vibes through that. I don't know why. I was like, with the planets towards the end, of Jedi Fallen Order with those big ass statues and shit. I was like, this reminds me a lot of that. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know if that was intentional, but
that was a pretty dope game. Oh, new episode idea.
Ooh, there you go. We'll do a Jedi Fallen Order review.
Boom.
What are thoughts about that?
All right. Back to Rise of Skywalker.
Anyway,
so
fast paced, super fast paced.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought of it as negative. I didn't care. I'm indifferent about it.
Well, let's kind of dive into some of the, and I don't know how true this is, but you've read the same things that I read, and this movie was supposed to be over 3 hours long, but Disney was like, nope, cut that, cut this, cut that, cut this, cut that, cut this.
Yeah, so there was a series of leaks. Well, I don't know if they're leaks, but and again, take all this with a grain of salt, right? Oh, first of all, I do want to preface everything that we're about to say.
These are just our opinions. This is no.
I do work for
Disney. This is no way affects our opinions of Disney. This is only our opinion. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and these are my opinions, not those of my employer. All right, so just want to get that out of the way because
Wait a minute. You work for Disney?
Well, Disney streaming services. Yes. Wow. I made an app called I helped make an app. Didn't make the whole thing. Disney Plus.
I didn't know. I don't know you as much as I thought I did. You made Disney Plus?
Anyway, so getting that out of the way, there were a series of leaks. Series of Lukes. Actually.
Series of Lukes. There were a series of Lukes, and that's one of my biggest gripes with the. All right,
that was a cool thing in Rise of Skywalker, seeing Luke come out and grab the lightsaber, and
basically retconning the whole fucking Luke Skywalker scenario in The Last Jedi.
There is there's a subreddit called Saltier Than Crate, probably the best named subreddit on Reddit.
That's a fantastic
Saltier Than Crate, Crate being the planet in the Last Jedi. That is the salt planet.
Salt planet
with all that salt that pops up as red.
That's apparently is red.
There's allegedly someone who knows someone who's in the know of the creative process of The Rise of Skywalker and had a long series of just information that he dropped for everybody. So, take it with a grain of salt. It's not confirmed. It may be, some of it may be true.
It isn't confirmed? I thought it was official.
It's not all confirmed. No. I don't really know if any of it's confirmed.
Oh, shit. Okay. I thought it was actually
seems
confirmed.
Credible.
Well, I hope it's real because
seems credible.
That makes me feel better about the movie and who was involved and what they were trying to do.
Yeah. So nothing's confirmed. Take it with a grain of salt. it may not be true. Some may be true. Some may not be true. You know, they could be mixed. But there was a lot of stuff that came out about it that really made me think that that Disney kind of screwed the pooch on this one. They didn't, and I don't mean this movie. I mean this trilogy.
I was gonna say they fucked this trilogy up.
That's my
more
main
than
thing
more
about
than I
this.
can describe.
And one thing that I noticed in that subreddit, they don't call it the sequel trilogy. There's not because that's what I've always been calling it: the OT, the PT, and the ST original prequel. Sequel.
What are they calling it?
They're calling it the DT.
The Destructive Trilogy?
The Disney
the
trilogy.
Detrimental Trilogy?
The
Disney Trilogy.
So
oh.
I think I'm going to adopt that because, people want them to essentially decanonize the whole thing.
I mean, they really fucked it up.
No, I think so.
In so many ways. You know
Listen.
what? You know, we should probably have an episode of just like how Disney was maybe the worst thing to happen to Star Wars.
Well, no, so I would disagree with that. I would say that they're
Okay, no, sorry,
they
not the worst
rushed-
thing. They were the worst thing to happen to this trilogy.
Yes, to me, what seemed to happen is they bought it. They bought it within 3 years. They had a movie, the beginning of a trilogy, right?
Yeah.
To me, that's too quick.
Not enough time.
I don't know.
Not enough
just
time.
Seems.
I mean,
Absurd.
Disney
And every
doing
other
what Disney
trilogy-
does: get movies out, make fucking money.
And I mean, they certainly did that. And
Well,
every
could've made
every
more.
trilogy, every other trilogy had 3 years in between. A lot of time to make the movie, right? To get things right. We only had 2 this year.
Well, he was also an independent filmmaker and didn't have the backing
was-
of a studio and have all of the.
He was making Star Wars, all right?
He was making
prequel
Star
trilogy,
Wars, but have you
come on.
watched that?
No, you're right. I understand what you're saying. No, I have not watched that yet, but I'll get around to it. I promise. But either way,
Anyway,
I think that
so
they just jumped
what
in.
are the rumor? What are the unconfirmed facts of the things that were supposed to happen but were cut?
So apparently, J.J. Abrams wanted complete creative control. Not complete, but just more creative control than he had in The Force Awakens.
Which is ridiculous to me because they gave it to Rian Johnson.
And he fucked it all
And
up.
he fucked it 9 ways to Sunday. They gave it to him, somebody who really hadn't done a film on this scale. I mean, I'm saying this with a grain of salt because I know some of the films that he's done, not all of them, but he, to my knowledge, has not done films on the scale that JJ has done.
I mean, I don't think so.
I mean, look at.
I think the
fucking motherfucking Star Trek, dude.
the thing is,
That's
I
a
think
big-
that Rian Johnson is more of a I don't know, auteur. I don't know how to say it. Like more like a film school type.
Yeah.
Like making a film, whereas J.J. Abrams
Right.
is kind of like not as bad as someone like Michael Bay, who just explosions everywhere, but someone who's making more better suited for Star Wars. in
Kind
my
of
opinion.
like, not exactly, but kind of like mainstream versus indie sort of
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
vibe.
And sorry, but
not
Star Wars is
not
kinda-
100% correct. That
I know what you're saying though.
but you know what I'm talking about.
like Rian Johnson is going to have more films premiere at like independent film festivals than J.J. Abrams will. You know,
J.J. Abrams probably won't ever have an independent film.
we could be wrong about that. He may already have. I don't know.
Well, he
But that's
might-
just the
he
way-
might have.
That's just the way it feels.
but
So,
yes, I know.
It says
you
that
get what I'm saying.
like when the original agreement was that he was going to have more creative control than he did on The Force Awakens, and that quote
Didn't
it became
happen.
evident this wasn't the case only a couple weeks into shooting.
Yeah,
Because that's when the meddling started.
Right. Because there were like things that he wanted to do, scenes he wanted to film. Again, this is just conjecture. This is rumors. This is not. Who knows what actually happened? But there were things he wanted to film, and Disney came on and was like, "Nope,
And they
Too
said
much
it's
money.
budgetary reasons. Like you're
fucking
first of all, you're
Disney, man. Are you
this-
joking?
You know you're gonna make way more money than you put into this movie. You just know it's gonna happen. And I think let's see, one of those things was what I think was just a tragedy that they did this is that they cut out a scene that included Force
they cut
Ghosts.
out multiple scenes.
Yeah, but this again rumors, but they allegedly cut out a scene that was going to have live action Force Ghosts. Of
Oh
all the
my
Jedi, not
God.
all the like Jedi that were real,
Yeah, and
not that are live action.
and what
not
we've
cartoons.
read was that they actually filmed this.
Yeah, Hayden Christensen,
Hayden Christensen was there.
Sam Jackson,
Liam
Ewan
Neeson.
McGregor, Liam Neeson, like
They were there,
and it says
filmed this fucking scene.
yeah, the actors
And
were
they
gonna
were
be in
like, "Nah."
costume, and they were going to be Ray was going to be surrounded by them. as a barrier.
I can't tell you how much better that would have made, because a lot of my, well, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but a lot of my gripes were with that kind of like final sequence. Like the final interaction between not only Rey and Palpatine, but Rey and, I guess, Ben.
Ben, yeah. So apparently the meddling that JJ and that Disney was doing was so bad that JJ at one point said, "quote Why didn't you just put directed and written by Lucasfilm then?" At a meeting.
I mean, these things are technically rumors and not confirmed, but it sounds like fucking fact to me, because that makes total sense, man. It makes total sense to me.
It does. It seems
I
like
totally agree.
Like
After hearing all these things, I'm like, oh, yeah, that would have been way better, and that feels like, just because like listening to JJ talk about Star Wars, like when you're just listening to him in interviews and like in behind the scenes stuff, he's clearly a huge fan and has super amount of passion in everything that he does, especially with Star Wars. That makes sense to me. I believe it 100%.
True. Yeah, and I don't know. I wouldn't say JJ is innocent in everything. Like I think
no,
but
agreed.
Yeah, I think he was trying to make the best movie possible, and executives came in and mucked it up. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
One thing that I think, and this is probably one of my biggest gripes with the movie, is that apparently the scene where they say "they fly now" was not what JJ wanted.
Again, not surprised. They repeated the same line 3 times in 3 different inflections. I'm like, this is dumb, you guys. This is not good. This is not good filmmaking. I don't know what to say.
So apparently that Disney wanted them to do that as a way to be able to sell merchandise, which is kind of annoying. But because look, if you think about it,
they weren't even pushing merchandise that hard with this one.
Good point. But if you think about it, they fly now. Like
they fly now. They fly now. They fly now.
And all of the actors have kind of talked about how that was stupid. Apparently, when they watched a screening of it in November, J.J. Abrams cringed. Quote, cringed, groaned, and laughed when the scene was on. Because, I mean, think about it. There's so many things that fly. Boba Fett, fucking Jango Fett, Clone Wars, all sorts of clones do it. Like, are you telling me that the First Order is supposed to be all powerful, like better than the Empire in terms of their stormtrooper capabilities and all this stuff? And Finn never once heard of a flying stormtrooper.
That's such fucking, dude. You know what? Like just talking about this and like thinking about this and having this conversation with you is you really need to watch that documentary on that thing that you made. I can't remember the name of it, but it's called like the story of an empire or whatever the hell it's called, documentary on Star Wars, and it makes such an emphasis on the fact that George Lucas pushed so hard and sacrificed so much and spent so much of his own money to ensure that he would continue to stay an independent filmmaker, so that the studios would not be able to get their grubby hands on his story and be able to manipulate it and change it and cut it to a way that they thought that would be most marketable to the audience. Yeah. He fought tooth and nail to do that, and I understand why more than ever by watching this fucking disaster of a trilogy.
And that's something that the person also said, is that it became obvious that Disney had an agenda, right, with trying to make this movie. And they said that, quote, Disney could afford messing up 9 for the sake of the bigger picture when it came to protecting things.
What the fuck is the bigger picture?
Like just the overall Star Wars, like, because there was a big backlash with The Last Jedi, and then Solo was a failure, even though it made
which
money,
is fucking horseshit,
dumb. But
because that was one of the better movies in my opinion.
I agree, and I think that they were trying to, executives were being executives and not really knowing what was best, right? And they were trying to fix it and do the best so that they would be able to make more movies and be able to continue Star Wars. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, and things like this make me want to do more research into what was really going on behind the scenes with this whole Marvel thing. How much creative control, how much authority did Kevin Feige really have? Because, in my opinion, the whole entire Marvel Cinematic Universe was fucking amazing.
It's super cohesive.
And super cohesive. They did a fantastic job. There's no
as far
film
as
I
I
can
know.
really. There's a few gripes I have, but not very many.
As far as I know, none of the Captain America movies contradicted the previous Captain America movies.
No, they didn't. I've seen them all. Captain America is probably my favorite Marvel superhero, so I'm super into those ones specifically, and they were all great. So, and that was another Disney enterprise. So, what was different about that didn't translate over to this? Like you had the form. It's there. You've proven that it's capable. What the fuck happened?
I don't know. So you mentioned this early on. JJ's cut was apparently 3 hours plus 3 hours and 2 minutes.
That's the rumor.
And, so I guess he signed off on a cut of the movie that was like 2 hours and 46 minutes or something like that in early December, which wasn't the cut that we got in theaters, which was 2 hours and 30 minutes or 2 hours and 36 minutes.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. So it says when he found out that he was blindsided with the cut that they presented, he said, quote, "What the fuck?" And that when Kylo was fighting the Knights of Ren at the end with the Williams music that was used for it was not what he wanted at all, and that it all seemed out of place.
Jesus fucking Christ, man! I didn't know that, and I'm just getting more frustrated. I'm like changing my opinion. Oh, maybe I wasn't fucking happy with as movie as I thought. You know, a lot of the reason that I think I was happy with this movie was because it was not the total disaster that we got with The Last Jedi.
Agree. I always tell people that I think
because
this
they
movie
fucked it up so
was
bad.
better,
There was nothing,
in my opinion, because of The Last Jedi being so trash.
The only way that I would have walked out pissed off is that if they put another like Jar Jar character in there or something. However, if Darth Jar Jar would have become a thing, that would have been dope.
Probably been better than what we got. Because that again, and they did it with this movie, and I think they did it. It was better for this movie than it was The Last Jedi, but they canceled a lot of things. Luke coming out and grabbing the lightsaber and being like, "Don't treat a lightsaber that way."
That was
that was a hit. At Ryan Johnson. For sure,
100%. The whole the whole jump to light speed with the ship and destroying other things.
The Holdo maneuver.
Oh, they shit all over that hard as
people
fuck.
Are aware, but one of the background characters, not a background character, he was in it throughout. He Dominic something. He's a actor that's been.
I thought it was Snap. Wasn't that Snap who did
wasn't.
that?
I don't know. It was in that scene where they're all huddling around.
Where they're all huddling around.
And,
yeah.
And someone says, what about the Holdo maneuver?
No. He wasn't a background character. He was the dude from Lost and from Lord of the Rings. Wasn't that him? What's his face?
Dominic something. Yeah.
He wasn't in any other movies. This is the first movie he's been in.
Oh, I know. I said a background character though.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying he's okay. Yeah.
But he said he brought up the Holdo maneuver,
right,
about light speeding, and they were like, "No, that's 1,000,000 to 1 odds." Or something like that. That's a 1 in a million shot.
Like,
so they just,
was it really?
They just got lucky then.
Yeah, exactly. There was so much.
Oh, you know what else I don't like? Sorry, I totally just remembered this because I was thinking about how I was so pissed in The Last Jedi how they killed off Admiral Akbar. Just and by the way, he's dead. By the way, he died. Right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, Leia's alive. Oh, by the way, Akbar's dead. But so we're going to go on this adventure. That makes fucking no sense. But wait, hold on. What?
So
what did you say?
Did something similar in this. In this case, they don't even tell you.
Oh my god. Yeah. Snap.
No.
Oh, you're talking about Snap?
Even worse, but not as bad as Akbar.
Wait, hold on.
I don't remember this happening at all.
Hold on. Give me a second.
Let me give you a hint.
So I do. They Snap died, which was kind of a tragic moment. I was like, oh, dude.
I mean, I'm glad that they're able to kill off characters. So that's one thing I think Rogue One did.
That was the only fucking one that they did.
Yeah, true.
Everybody else just came back to life. Oh my gosh! All right, give me a hint, man.
I did not see this famous ship blow up.
You did not see this famous
ship
in
at least one other movie
blow up, and it's been in at least.
It might even be considered the first ship we ever saw in Star Wars.
The Tantive 4?
Yeah. Do you know who's piloting the Tantive 4?
Who would be piloting the Tantive 4?
They showed him, I
That's-
think. I'm just going
to Wedge wasn't piloting that, was he?
No, Wedge was off in an X-Wing.
Okay.
9 Nub is dead.
What?
It was confirmed by the author of the novelization on Twitter.
We saw Nien Nub in this movie, right?
We did. Piloting the Tantive 4, and apparently the Tantive
That's
4
what he
blew
was
up.
piloting. Because we just saw like a close-up of his face.
Yeah.
We didn't know like what he was
I
piloting
think
or what
they
he
implied
was
it because they showed the
surrounding.
Tantive 4, then they went in and it was white.
I need to watch it again.
I know. I was like,
What?
another case of like killing off a famous character. You know, he's pretty famous. He's not Akbar level famous.
But you're gonna kill everybody else back and bring them back to life. But you're gonna like brush off somebody like fucking Nien Nub.
So, a couple other things from the leaks is that they made it clear apparently that because it's kind of weird that Han wasn't a Force ghost, which makes sense because he's not a Force user. So why would he be a Force ghost? So
Exactly. No,
like,
it's
someone would be
a
like,
memory.
well, so is he just thinking? Like, is he like? Yo, Ben, are you all right? You going crazy? You're literally seeing things. You're talking to nothing, right? But they apparently in the JJ cut, it was actually supposed to be Leia projecting Han to him.
No shit. I like that
and
better.
That's kind of like she. In
That's
the same
way better.
way
That's
that
actually
Luke
way better.
projected himself and died.
Yeah,
she
yeah,
projected
yeah.
himself and died.
Oh my god, that's
herself
fucking
died.
way better.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude.
So, and then the last thing that I wanted to talk about with this is the Force sensitivity of Finn.
Oh.
So the thing that
There was
Finn-
that moment where he wanted to tell her something. Wanted to
And
tell Rey something.
Originally, when I first saw it, I was like, is he gonna say that he loves her? You know, that's what I thought at first.
That's
The
what I thought it was a
second
love
viewing,
thing. Yeah, I thought it was a relationship kind of
picked
deal.
up more of him, like kind of seeming like he's Force sensitive. But so when he said that, I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's going to say that he thinks he might be Force sensitive. In the JJ cut, it was explicit that he is Force sensitive, and that they like was what he was going to talk about. I don't know if they
Wasn't it rumored that he actually like used the Force?
Yeah. So apparently, when they're kind of running on the Star Destroyer on those, those fucking creatures, whatever they are from the
space horses.
It would be the water moon of Endor, right? Because Endor is a gas planet. The forest moon of Endor has the Force, so this would be like the ocean moon of Endor, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
So whatever that planet or moon was, those creatures that
Right.
Who's the new character?
The Lord of the Ring.
No.
Mary from Lord of the Rings.
Wait, she's in Lord
Who are you
of the
talking
Rings?
about? No. Mary is a dude. He's the fucking guy.
There goes my nerd cred.
Mary and Pippin. Oh, Jesus
I've
Christ,
seen them.
man.
It's been a while, right? And I never really cared. But
Are
I do
you
know.
talking about the one everybody thought that she
Lando's-
was going to be Lando's daughter?
Yeah.
Naomi Aki.
Yeah, I mean, I knew her first name, but why can't I find Rise of
Naomi
IMDb?
Aki. I don't remember what her fucking name was in the movie. So, but that's kind of the assumption though, is that she's also Force sensitive too, right? And like all of these stormtroopers who like decided to be like,
Oh, I didn't
no,
know
we're
that.
done. They were all like,
Janet.
oh, the new Force sensitive generation. They were just like, no, we don't agree with this. We have a higher intelligence. We have a deeper connection with life. And
I didn't get that out of. I didn't get that they were all supposed to
read
be Force
that
sensitive.
somewhere. I don't really know if I buy it, but
Yeah. So anyway, when they're running on the Star Destroyer, apparently,
right.
Let's see. It says that they were running on top of that Star Destroyer, and Finn needed to unlock or move something, and he force moved it and acted surprised when it happened. This was replaced with a CGI to BB-8 fixing whatever he needed to fix.
Fuck Disney.
I did not say that. I don't agree with that.
No. That was me. I know and way endorse Disney's views as my own. This is really my own views. I don't work for Disney. Blah, blah, blah.
So those are some of the main leaks that I think.
Do you know?
if
You
true,
know what you just
are
reminded
bad.
me of?
What's
Something that I loved about this movie was that our hero, our favorite person in Star Wars, is now officially canon.
Oh,
Who is that, Aaron? Let's see. What's the name of our podcast?
rule of two.
Who came up with that idea, Aaron?
One might be confused and say Darth Bane, but
One
they would
might be
wrong.
confused and say that, but he's technically the one who put that into action. Who did he get that? He got that idea from somebody else. Who was that person?
I believe his name would be Darth fucking Revan.
That's motherfucking right, bro. Because one of these Sith Trooper legions that they were fighting against during that final attack was
the Revan Legion.
the Revan Legion.
Canonized to some extent.
What
Anyway.
up? Dude, I don't give a fuck.
It's awesome.
That dude, he's long overdue, man. He.
Keanu Reeves is Revan. What do you think?
Oh my god, I love that idea.
Yeah. So what was I gonna say? I was gonna bring something that you brought up. Oh, the Sith Troopers. That's what I wanted to talk about. Okay. How do you think about this? Think about this for a second.
Very disappointing.
Think about this for a second. They are remnants of the Empire, right? That's kind of what they implied. They're the old style Star Destroyers, retrofitted.
You know what? We'll keep going.
So they're the old style Star Destroyers, not like the First Order Star Destroyers.
Exactly.
They are, and they kind of imply that it's, a lot of the remnants that left after the Battle of Jakku kind of went to the unknown regions, probably went to Exegol, stayed there.
Sure.
They built up their shit, right?
Sure.
So why do the Sith Troopers for this not look like the old style Stormtroopers?
Yeah.
They have the new First Order helmets.
Continuity error, bro.
Just so easy. It's so like you did it with the Star Destroyers.
But you know what? Why did the First Order Stormtroopers look the way that they looked? Maybe that was all Palpatine, because maybe that was Snoke, and we find out that Snoke was actually Palpatine anyway. So maybe it all just kind of cascades.
What is the point of the First Order?
I got nothing.
I don't have all these ships. Just go start blowing shit up.
Dude, the biggest problem with this trilogy is
Continuity.
Disney.
Just cohesiveness.
Cohesiveness.
Again, we already went over it a little bit with the lightsaber, and now also with Rey's parents. You're nobody.
Oh my god!
They sold you for nothing. They're junk traders.
Oh, and then okay.
But you're also a Palpatine.
So yeah, it gets revealed that Rey is actually Palpatine's granddaughter, which we totally fucking called, and when we saw The Force Awakens. Because when she was battling Rey on Starkiller, or when Rey was battling Kylo on Starkiller Base, the way that she was moving her lightsabers, and I watched so many videos, I'm like, oh my god, it totally makes sense. She's got to be a Palpatine. That would be the dopest, sweetest twist ever, and they did it.
I was expecting
the only
like
problem
noises
is that they
out of her,
yeah,
like Palpatine does when he's.
So that's another motherfucking problem. Was that final battle? I was really just desperate for a double bladed lightsaber, fucking crazy awesome, because Rey had the double bladed blue lightsabers because she had, okay, again, we didn't even touch on this, but Leia had a fucking lightsaber.
Yep.
Sweet as fuck.
Oh, and that's another
so
thing.
dope.
She
has it. She got Luke's lightsaber. We've seen Palpatine battle with two lightsabers. That's a thing. It wouldn't be unprecedented.
To Kylo.
But she got it back. Oh, wait, no.
Oh no, she had both.
No, she had it back because she was using the two to block his lightning.
True.
I wanted so bad. The only way that I would have been more happy is for him to whip those two red lightsabers out, and then just have a epic.
Well,
lightsaber.
he's kind of like stuck on some
not anymore. He wasn't.
Oh yeah, you're right.
No. As soon as he absorbs that energy, because they were what was it
called?
A dyad,
a force dyad.
A dyad in the Force, which they were connected in a way that nobody's been connected in thousands of years, or whatever the fuck. Which I've never heard about that before. That was like a new thing, right? Like,
yeah, it's a new thing. But think about this: if he saw that when they were together, like, do they have to be physically present? Like, why wouldn't he have known about that when he was as Snoke connecting the two of them together across the galaxy?
Continuity error.
I don't know.
So many
one thing
fuck ups with this story.
Before we continue with this sort of thing, what do you think is next with Star Wars in terms of this movie? Like, because I feel like they left off two things. One was Lando talking to Janna, right? They were like, well, let's go see, or something like that. Like,
right.
That to me kind of indicated a possible spinoff, whether or not they do it. I don't know.
That, and then the whole Rey thing. She buries Luke and Leia's lightsaber in the sand with the Force, and then was it a person or a droid who came up to her? I don't even remember who came up to her and asked her.
It was a person.
It was a person,
like an old lady.
Yeah, that's right. And the double sun's setting in the background, like old school.
She was at Lars' homestead.
Yeah, at the moisture farm.
Yep.
And she's like, "Oh, my name's Rey Skywalker." I'm like, okay, that doesn't really seem like the end of the Skywalkers to me. And this was supposed to be like, this is the last Skywalker thing, and you're clearly not a Skywalker. We all know you're a Palpatine. Like, so like that didn't seem like closure. We got no closure out of this fucking movie, man.
That, like, the Skywalkers are dead. Like, they're no more.
No, they're gone.
Literally no more.
Oh no, they're gone. They're gone.
I mean, she can claim to be a Skywalker, but their bloodline's fucked. It's gone.
The bloodline's fucked, and well, is it?
I don't know why. Like, they didn't fuck.
I don't know. No. I'm thinking more about, like, maybe Han and Leia had some other children. Maybe Leia fucked some other dude on the side. Maybe Luke disavowed his Jedi beliefs. I mean, nothing's off limits. Look at all the shit that we thought about Luke, that it was no longer true because the Last Jedi broke it all the fuck down, man.
Luke.
It's Luke. That's a whole separate subject.
I did want to bring up about Rey's new lightsaber. Right? They show the top of it. She clicks the.
Oh my god!
And it's like orange, yellow, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
And it's apparently built. It looks like it's built from her staff.
Her staff.
Is it a double-bladed lightsaber? Because if you look at the way she does it like at the
end
edge
of the one, edge of the one.
So like,
yeah,
she clicked that one and then click the one below it, and it would.
All right. So on 3, what was the first thing you thought of when she ignited that lightsaber? 1, 2, 3. Bastila Shan.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
God
Jedi
damn it,
battles.
man! Come on,
the second
you
time
just
in 2
fucking like
episodes we've
ruined
done
a crazy awesome moment.
But we just aren't on the same page. I thought you were talking about Jedi power battles where you could have the orange lightsaber with Plo Koon. Boom.
Oh no, I was thinking of Bastila. Because Bastila had an orange lightsaber, and it was a double-bladed lightsaber, right. And she was a chick, and she was fucking awesome.
She was sick, and it was kind of staffy like that. Like
it was a double-bladed staff. Fucking.
Ooh, good point.
Jesus Christ, man.
Well,
but no, yeah, she definitely had. That was a sweet moment.
That was
because in all of the movies that we've ever seen, there's only ever been blue, green, red, and purple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
now we get our first orange,
and a week later, we got our first black, dark, whatever in live action.
That's true with the Mandalorian and the Darksaber resurfacing. But that's interesting that it's orange. So like, is that supposed to be like a
like Jedi Sentinels? What those were, right? Is that what they technically
are? Well,
they
were more of like a yellow, whitish kind. They were
the Sentinels in.
Wait,
Rebels
you're talking about Sentinels.
Different.
I'm talking about acolytes. The Jedi acolytes who were like keepers of the Jedi
counselors is what I'm thinking of. Sentinels are from Rebels. They have the white lightsabers. Jedi counselors are not
the ones with the white.
Members.
Those are the Sentinel. Those are the.
Aren't those Sentinels?
Those are the acolytes. Well, anyway, the point was because of the color. Does that mean that she's like the perfect balance between good and evil? Because she is
fucking cars outside.
Anyway, motherfuckers. Because she was trained by Luke and she's trying to be good, but she's also born from the most diabolical, successful Sith of all time. So is that color supposed to mean something like she is actually the balance between good and evil?
It's possible. I don't know. Well, what you bring in, and you're bringing that in, and that is yours, dude.
Only what you take with you. I just feel like this was not a conclusion by any means.
It didn't seem like an end to the Skywalker saga.
No.
That's for sure.
And maybe if they would have stuck with one creative mind, and I'm not saying one director, one writer, because that's clearly we know that That
Historically,
doesn't
Star Wars
matter.
isn't like that exactly.
Clearly, because the original trilogy was done by George Lucas, directing, then Lawrence Kasdan, then
I don't remember his name. Rick
fuck was
Farquaad?
his name?
Fucking dogs, dude.
Well, whoever did the Last
Return of the
Jedi,
Jedi.
or Return of the Jedi, because
When-
the original trilogy, yes, was done by 3 different directors, but it was still George Lucas's story. He was the one calling all the shots. He wrote the story. He was the one telling everybody what he wanted to happen, what he wanted to do. It might have on a minute level, they were controlling what happened on a day-to-day basis. But with this trilogy, and from JJ to Ryan to JJ, but it wasn't just directorial changes. There were different levels of creative control being passed from one person to the other, and that's what fucked this thing up so
JJ
bad.
didn't even have creative control in any of it, really. Like, we don't know what sort of input
the rumor.
the Lucasfilm had in terms of The Last Jedi, but from these, if we take these leaks at their word, then JJ really didn't have much at all in The Force Awakens and the Rise of Skywalker, and it seems that for some reason,
Force Awakens and the
Rise of Skywalker is what I said. Yeah.
oh yeah,
And it seems like The Last Jedi, Ryan Johnson had full creative control, which is pretty bad.
100%. From everything I've read, he had 100% creative control.
So let's bring this back to The Rise of Skywalker. One question
Yeah.
that I do have for you is, what is wrong with, like, the timeline with Luke doesn't seem to make sense to me in terms of, it makes Luke seem like a worse character in my opinion. So if you think about it, so we know he apparently went through a phase, I guess, where he just was like, I'm done, right? I'm done. I'm going to go on this Octo planet and peace out, right? But in Rise of Skywalker, we find out that him and Lando were tracking down Exegol, right? And he got close. Why was he tracking down Exegol? Did he know about Palpatine?
Right.
So then all of a sudden he's just like in the middle of that and he just calls it quits and is like, fuck this, I'm out. What the fuck's that about? You know Palpatine is still out there? You know his granddaughter's out there? Apparently, because as soon as they met Rey, both Leia and Luke both knew she was the granddaughter of Palpatine. So, like, you know that's out there.
Again, dude, it all comes back to who's calling the shots. Who's making these higher level decisions to take the story one way or another? Clearly, it's not the directors, the producers, or the writers. They're getting overridden at every step of the way, at least as far as what we've heard, aside from The Last Jedi, which I still don't know why they did that, but that's what it's all about. It's passing it off from one person to another and not having any kind of continuity whatsoever or no collaboration between those creative minds at all. There's not one person saying, this is the story we're telling, period, end of motherfucking story.
Yep, we need a Kevin Feige, which we may have soon. So,
hopefully,
I think
we
just
have something.
in general, though, I did enjoy the movie. This is a movie that I will like rewatch. I didn't rewatch The Last Jedi until this year, until watching end of 2019. I will rewatch this when it comes out on Disney Plus. You know what I mean?
That is the biggest thing for me, I think. I've already seen The Last Jedi 3 times in theaters, and I would love to go back and see it again. And
The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker?
Sorry, what did I say?
You said The Last Jedi.
I meant The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I only saw the Last Jedi in theaters twice, and I did not watch it when it came out.
I did see The Last Jedi in theaters twice. Obviously, the first time with you. Mm-hmm. I saw it again with my family. And then when it came out, and I own it, unfortunately, but I own it, and I have tried to go back and rewatch it, and I've never been able to finish it because I hate it that much.
Yeah, it's
I can't even describe.
But this one, Rise of Skywalker, is one that I'm definitely gonna rewatch.
I will. Overall, I thought it was a good like as its own movie. If I'm taking it at face value as a standalone film, I'm entertained. I liked it.
The trilogy as a whole. Well, when I take it in context to the trilogy too, I think that's what makes it better for me. Like, is that
I think
was
that makes
good.
it worse for me when I take the context of the trilogy because they took so many of the things from the previous movies. I'm like, that didn't happen.
True,
This
they
was
could've-
stupid.
they could've continued with
You
what-
remember how you thought this could happen? No, it can't. Because
But I like those
we
things.
Fucking
I like
hated
some
that.
of those things though. Like I like that they. To me,
It's
a lot of
funny.
it seems to be a shit on
It's funny.
Ryan Johnson, and I like that. And to me, that
Yeah.
is more a reflection on The Last Jedi than it is on Rise of Skywalker. That's my opinion. So
That's a fair point. Overall, I liked it. I was entertained.
I think so too. And
It
apparently,
clearly has problems,
and
but
apparently, the audience on Rotten Tomato likes it. It's an 86, which is better than
a good amount.
almost better than The Force Awakens, but it is better than Last Jedi. So The Last Jedi had 43, Force Awakens 87. So
It's also instrumentally better. Astronomically, that was weird. Astronomically better than the prequel trilogy, which is a little unfortunate because that's what we grew up with. And I
like
actually,
it better.
to be honest, like the prequel trilogy better than this one.
So,
Personal opinion, but
what do you think? You want to call this one a wrap? Because I think
I
we should
suppose.
dedicate maybe a shorter episode towards some of our feelings as a trilogy as a whole. Maybe we should rewatch the whole trilogy when it comes out and then do a thought process on that.
I love that idea. Too many feelings, too little time.
So, well, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, any comments, you can hit us up.
Then you can go fuck yourselves.
Well, I want them to contact us.
Sorry.
Actually, so you
My
can
bad.
contact us at RoTKast, RoTKast on Twitter, RoTKast@gmail.com, and RoTKast.com.
What he said. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
Later.
Peace.